Hey everybody, welcome back to bag weaving. I took a week off because I started my period, and it's customary in our culture to not work on traditional items when you're on your period. So there's that. But I am getting back to this bag and I'm about to attach it to the board. But before we get there, I just wanted to let you know that I've changed the design yet again. Um, it's just blocks of purple, green, blue. I think it looks cleaner, sharper, a bit more classy. So the first thing that you want to do before you attach it to the board, this is my loom. I'm going to take the medium sized twine, and as you can see it, you pull it from the middle, and we're going to wrap it around the board twice. So you want to start, you want to make sure that you leave a little bit at the end because you're going to have to tie it off at the end. So you want to make sure you have enough so you can tie it. So then you just wrap it twice around the board, and then you want to make sure that you have plenty extra. So I feel like, let's see, I usually, because it's going to have to go around and around to attach, so you want to make sure it's at least 3 times the length of the bag that you're going to have. But I like to do extra just because it's better to have more than enough than not enough and then run out. Okay, so now I don't know if anybody sews or anything, but you're just gonna do a single knot to tie it off. Make sure it's a little tight, not too tight because you got to move it a little bit, and then so you have extra there, and you just have that little knot. I don't know if you can see it, and you just move it over to the side. And for now, you can put this aside. You don't need it just yet. Okay, so we're gonna start on one side of the bag, and then we're gonna go all the way this way. But we're gonna start off with, you remember the really long string that was the strap? The strap goes at the end. And because it is the strap and not the flap, you want to make sure that both ends are even. So you just make sure they're even, get all the way to the ends, and then you want to make sure you hold it at the end, right? Okay. So then you're going to put your finger on the line here in the middle, and one side goes on the other. And then what you want to do is put this, we'll call this the tail. It goes under both of the strings. So there's this little loop here, right here, and the tail goes through the loop. And then you want to make sure the first one is all the way to the knot, because that's the end, and then you just pull it tight. And I know that there's other people who have learned how to attach it differently. This is just how I learned, and it works for me. So once you get it attached, it looks like a little horseshoe, and then you just want to make sure it's pulled tight. And then to make it easier on yourself, you can take this and put it underneath there, so it's ready for the next one. And then I grab the next string, and hopefully my cat does not try to attack my hemp. Let's see. Okay. So one more time, make sure they're even. Make sure you have it in the middle. And you have the little loop here. I'm going to take the tail and it goes through. Make sure it's snug against the edge of the previous pair of hemp. Okay, so once again, you pull the string up. Make sure it's nice and snug. Pull it tight. Okay, so now this is going to be the interesting part, because now we're moving on to the bag. So we're going to start with purple. You want to make sure one side is even. Okay. So this is the really fun part. Okay, so you got to, since we're doing a flap, it can't be even this way. Remember, we're going to put it in to thirds like this because that's the flap. And then since this right here is the flap, this right here, my middle finger, is the bottom of the bag. So this is the middle. And just, oh wait, I want to, wait, I think I want to turn it around because it'll be easier. Okay. So the flap, the side with the flap is going away from me. Okay. So hopefully you got this. So now, as you can see, the longer side with the flap is on this side, and then this is what the length of the bag is going to be right there. Okay, so now I can kind of use this as a measure for the next one. Oops. Okay. So, just to make my life easier, we're going to measure it with this. And then you can always adjust it later once you start weaving and it's on the board, just so that everything is even. So from here on out, I'm going to speed it up, so hopefully you're catching on. Okay, so as you can see, we have finished the bag. This is the last blue strand. So I'm at the strap, and remember the straps, because they need to be even, you want to make sure that they're even, and you can go directly into the middle. And this is the last. See, there's this much left. Okay, so now that everything is attached to the board, you want to go back to this side where this was and pull it over to the edge a little bit. But you want to make sure we're gonna cut it off the board, but you want to make sure you have enough so that you can tie it once more at the end. So we're gonna go to the end here. And you want to tie it off here so that it stays together. And it's just a single knot. And you just want to make sure it's nice and tight. And then on this side, you want to pull the double rope out. You want to make sure this is tight. And before you tie it off on this side, you want to make sure that it's wider than the loom, which it is plenty. So then you just tie it off so it all stays together. Just a single knot. And now you're ready for weaving. And this part, resetting the design and attaching it to the board, that took me about an hour and 10 minutes.